unmanned aerial vehicle that would normally have been on patrol over the Jersey shore was down for maintenance. They were the search and rescue patrol that morning, and they were going to crash. 0745 Eastern Standard Time, Horizon Communications Network Operations Center, NOC, New Creighton, New Jersey. Less than 50 miles to the northwest, under a rolling hill of manicured grass, Constance Murphy was getting the handover brief from the midnight shift director at the Horizon Communications Network Operations Center. From the command balcony, Constance looked out at a 2-story-high map of the United States, crisscrossed in yellow lines, connecting blinking green dots. They called it the Big Board. Below, on the floor of the NOC, the night shift engineers were handing over their seats to their daytime replacements. The blinking lights represented 20% of the world's internet traffic, which was routinely carried on the fiber-optic cables of Horizon Communications. Running in pipes and conduits under wheat fields, along rail beds, over bridges, and up city streets, 23,000 miles of Horizon Communications' specialized glass fiber carried the photons that routers would convert into electrons and then into billions of Internet protocol packets of ones and zeros. Email and web browsers, buy and sell orders, travel reservations, pornography, and inventory updates. As she stood sipping her coffee, Murphy scanned the teams on the floor below and half listened to Joshua Schwartz, the Midnight Watch director, say 5 or 6 ways that everything was routine. Then something in her peripheral vision caught her attention, and she looked up to see a light just south of New York City switch from green to red. Then another light, east of the city this time, blinked red. She put her hand on Schwartz's arm to stop him from talking and nodded toward the upper right of the big board. "What?" Schwartz said, furrowing his brow and squinting. "That's all 3 of our Atlantic cables. Why?" He quickly sat down at his computer console, his fingers flying across the keyboard. "New Creighton is getting no reading from the Pine Harbor, Pleasant Bay, or Banning Beach routers. SYNAC messages are being black-holed. Nada. How could all 3 go down at once? There are 2 rollover backup routers at every landing." Constance Murphy stood over Schwartz and looked at his screen. "That says we got nothing going to or from Europe." "That's because we don't, Connie. We just had all 9 routers at our beachheads simultaneously decide to shit the bed. Horizon Communications is cut off from Europe." Schwartz shook his head. "We'll have to go hat in hand to Infotel and ETT and ask if we can redirect our load onto their fiber until we figure out what the fuck is going on." Murphy picked up a green phone, on top of which a big light was blinking furiously. "Horizon Communications, Murphy." As she listened to the voice at the other end, she stared at Schwartz, and her eyes grew. "Hang on 1 second," she said into the phone, and then leaned forward. She grabbed a long, flexible microphone that was connected to speakers on the floor below. "This is Murphy. Night shift, do not depart. Repeat, do not depart. Day shift, activate the emergency engineering notification plan." Then she looked back at Schwartz. "I got ETT on the green phone. We ain't switching load to them. All their beachhead routers are deader than a doornail, too." They looked at each other, their expressions changing from dumbfounded to horrified. Finally, Schwartz stood up. "You call a VP. I'll get onto the National Communications System." 8:05 Eastern Standard Time. Aboard the MV Atlantic Star, 2 miles off Squirrel Island, Boothbay Harbor, Maine. "It's too cold to be diving, no?" the captain asked in Russian. "Not with these," the diver replied, slapping his side. "New suit. Latest technology from Russian Navy labs. Never feel the cold. Besides, I'm just there to guide the drone. It does all the work. Hauls the cargo down to the bottom. Sends us back the pictures." The MV Atlantic Star was registered in Panama and flying its flag. In smaller letters under the ship's name on the stern, it said Cologne. The captain and crew were Lithuanian and paid by the company that owned the ship in Antigua. For this trip, they were also being paid by someone else, who had also hired the 6 Ukrainians who had boarded in Newark. The ship's instructor